One of the themes I want to come to in my presentation is that I think a lot of our discussion and narrative is too focused on the technology side and not sufficiently focused on the needs of the insurance industry. And so I want to talk about how we as a community go from disrupting, which is a word quite often used in the tech sector, to actually enabling and working in partnership with insurance customers. And I think the key to that is to realize that drivers are consumers, and we have to help insurance companies get to those consumers. Hubio was a brand that was formed by connecting together three established companies, and a brand that is connected to not just talk about UBI, but also bring the story all the way round to policy and claims and event management. Because we believe that the combination of these three facets is the heart of the matter as far as really taking this market into its mass market. So today I want to talk about the move from disruptor to enabler. So I want to talk a little bit about how we would explore this move, how we would start to understand what's in this ecosystem as far as the insurance company is concerned, how we would then identify those needs and then move towards solutions. And so my presentation will take this flow. As far as the insurance executives that I've spoken to since coming into this business are concerned, they're pretty confused about the world of technology. They hear countless claims from countless companies. Conferences like this are widespread. There are conferences like this all over the world. And each of these conferences has a different angle and a different slant. And how can you understand that from an insurance company's point of view? So I think we as a community need to change our language to a language of simplicity and customer focus. I think we have to show that we can understand what's in this ecosystem from the insurer's point of view. Because from the insurance point of view, as I mentioned to you, drivers are consumers and consumers are drivers. And so it's all about that interaction with that community from both ways round. I've framed 4 elements, which are the key elements that I suggest are those that we consider when we talk about how we should interact with the insurance industry. The first element is the element of interaction and consumer engagement. Businesses like Google, Facebook, the telcos engage with us every second of the day. Today, even retail companies engage with us periodically. Insurance companies are companies which hardly engage with us at all. So there is an opportunity for those people, for those insurers, to engage more regularly with their consumers. The world of telematics and IoT, these are words, by the way, that if you've been around long enough, you've heard these words in multiple cycles on and off. The reality is that the technology is there from a number of companies like us, and it's there to be used. And I think the breakthrough now comes more in the business model than in the need to develop new technology. The third area is that of data analytics. I think this is a really, really super hot area at the moment. I think this is an area which has transformed itself in the recent past, and I think offers this industry a fantastic transformational opportunity going forward. And last but not least, we've seen an expansion of different distribution channels, and those will be a key element going forward. Within the customer engagement part, the historic business model for this sector was to buy, claim, and renew. So as a consumer, you would interact barely a couple of times with your insurer. The insurer's purchase would often be a stigma purchase. It would often be a purchase that you kind of even a bit regret, and it will be a purchase that goes nowhere. And so the opportunity now is to have a completely different behavioral model. A model based on mobile, a model based on personalization, and a model based on continuous interaction. And this means that from an insurance company's point of view, the insured becomes a consumer. And you can interact with them beyond just that one-time particular situation. Telematics and IoT means that you have a plethora of different engagements. This picture shows you just some of the engagement possibilities, two-way engagement possibilities that you have when you talk about connected vehicles. I happen to believe that over time, connected vehicles will become more and more things that are done at the OEM stage. But before that happens comprehensively, there's still an opportunity for all kinds of other markets, including aftermarkets, to take place. But the crucial thing is that the data set is now something that is there and offers massive opportunities for insurers. It offers massive opportunities for consumers as well. And this interaction possibility is two-way and very exciting. Data analytics, when you talk, as I do frequently with a number of our data scientists, you see that correlations of first, second, third order things can transform a conversation completely. Just looking at braking behavior, just looking at how you keep your distance, just looking at what speed you drive at, just looking at things. We have businesses with technologies which can even interface with consumers and interrogate them from a psychological point of view on how their behavior has happened in this way or that way or the other way, and it's all based on data. Data science transforms the equation completely. And data science turns us from a world of sensing and responding to predicting and acting. Predicting and acting is then the holy grail for everything. And I think this is the area of the new battleground for the insurance industry. The elephant in the room often is the issue between cost and accuracy. And so there is this long-standing debate, which we should just face directly, regarding the fact that you can get precisely beautiful data from a black box or an expensive black box or whatever, and you may get slightly less precisely beautiful data from a pretty much a free app. And so mass market is going to go to the lowest cost center. That's happened in every other industry in the world, and so this will be no different. The battleground now is being fought in the area to make the hardware only one of the elements. We believe in our company that actually data science is the key and ultimately will become more important than hardware, because with right data science, you can make correlating analytics improve the quality of the data that you get, even through the cheapest source. So if you believe in the mass market, which we do, and if you believe in democratized access to that, then you have to believe in the use of data analytics and smart analytics to be an improver over just hardware. And I think that's the next stage. When I look at the number of distribution channels in this industry, there's been a complete explosion of different models, services. Mobile technology means that access can be very fast to things. Mobile technology means that you can get into a situation where very quickly you can decide as a consumer. And ultimately, I believe that it's not just about UBI. I think it's about consumer engagement. I think in due course, conferences like this will no longer be called UBI conferences. I think they will be about consumer engagement for the insurance sector. Because ultimately, this is the superset that we're going for. It's about technologies that can allow good, clear consumer engagement. And so, to do this, the insurance sector needs a toolkit, and needs a toolkit that can be sufficiently versatile as to be able to deal with its needs and its circumstances. There have been too many failed markets in history where the technology is there, but people don't know how to use it. The essence now is for a supplier to develop a flexible, versatile toolkit to be able to offer the customer the broadest set of solution options it can according to its needs. So for me, the elements of these toolkits are as follows on this chart. You have to be able to have excellent data connection from whatever medium, whatever access you need, whether it's a smartphone, whether it's a dongle, whatever it is. You have to then have a message gateway that can be excellent under all circumstances, 24/7, with a guarantee that it offers the consumer and the insurance company a seamless and perfect transfer. There can be no excuse for poor performance in this area, because one poor performance could result in massive downstream consequences. So you have to have a perfect gateway. You have to be able to have a rules engine that can add value to all events. And this rules engine then is the link between data that you collect and the predictability and interpretation of behavior. And this needs to be informed by experience. You can't do this from scratch. You have to have the experience. And so those of us that have been tracking driver miles, all kinds of incidents, events, etc., get these solutions through such experience. And then you have to be able to engage with your driver and ultimately with your consumer. And I think these are the elements of this, and to be able to have a two-way system so you can then have an interaction with your consumer. Once you've closed this loop, and once you've connected the consumer to the ecosystem, there are many things you can do with and for the consumer. Way beyond motor insurance, you can engage with them on a retail basis. You can engage with them on an information basis. You can become part of their lives and they part of your business. So consumer engagement is the key part of this, because without that, you can't get this access in the first place. And I think that this circle that I've explained here, which goes from the UBI platform through to behavior analytics, all the way round to campaigns that you can run, is the key to how you do this. And using technologies, like I've explained, is the key element to be able to get to this point. And you know, once you've done this, you no longer consider one-way traffic. You consider your driver as a consumer, and actually your consumers, or the consumers, as your possible future drivers. So engagement is the heart of the matter. And so therefore, the insurance industry needs to be able to rely on a technology base, a technology supplier that can provide excellent engagement, a really, really, really strong system and strong loop, as I've just explained, and to be able to have apps and engagement models that track all the way from the consumer data through to the back end, including policy and claims, etc., because that's what ultimately will bring the system to life. So you can see, for example, on our stand outside, a number of engagement models that we've developed and a number of things that we're working on with customers. Of course, they've had to be anonymized. And these include things like, for example, the system which we developed to make a quote and buy directly from the mobile phone. So you start from the mobile phone, the consumer enters their data, gets a quote, interacts with the system, a rules engine then decides what kind of person they are, what kind of risk they are, etc., etc. It goes through all the way to a buying decision, which the consumer can make, and all the way through to the thing being processed, and then ultimately what comes out of it is a policy that's granted to the consumer. And so you can therefore buy that in real time, and then this is then linked to a system which then can be linked to all the way round to a claim in case the consumer needs a claim. And so this kind of end-to-end approach is an approach that is a way of working that I think is crucial now to make drivers consumers and consumers drivers, because onto this we are adding other things to do with retail, to do with purchases, to do with affinity, which are over and above the insurance world. So I would say that as we move from disruptor to enabler, we have a number of crucial learnings that I think if we absorb them as an industry, I think we can really go far to accelerate this market. And we intend to play our role in that. And ultimately, I think this UBI toolkit is ultimately something that becomes a consumer engagement toolkit. A toolkit of front-end and back-end services that engages consumers and turns drivers into consumers and consumers into drivers.